大家好，欢迎收看文美集团美国升学直通车。文美集团美国升学直通车是华人网和文美教育集团联合制作播出的北美首档大型的网络直播教育节目。在我们的节目当中，你将会了解到最新最权威的教育资讯，还有升学的建议。无论你是学生还是家长，有任何的美国升学教育问题，都可以给我们留言。还是来首先给大家介绍一下文美集团。美国文美集团，美国大学申请规划服务第一品牌，20年经验，万博士领衔常春藤顾问团队，中美双顾问模式服务一个学生，按照大学录取学校排名收费，与孩子形成利益共同体。华人老品牌，值得您的信赖。文美集团隆重推出 ACAP 大学专业及职业测评规划管理系统，华人升学机构首创，完美解决华人学生最大升学痛点。人工智能提前锁定大学专业方向，提前2到5年布局申请。有了专业测评系统，孩子的课程规划更清晰，活动更聚焦，文书更有故事感，大学申请更有竞争力。5到11年级学生都可以报名参加测评。文美集团1对1非营利组织成立运营领导力项目，让孩子从参与者变为领导者，真正成长、成人、成才进名校。5到11年级学生均可报名参加。文美集团社会影响力联合国网络义工课程，节省孩子时间，做名校认可的社会影响力，高大上义工。5到11年级学生均可报名参加。今天我们为大家邀请到了前宾大的招生官，同时呢也是文美集团规划部文科项目的主管 Miss Mayer 来和我们解读案例，从全剧到普林斯顿大学的录取2份申请揭示的残酷真相。下面有请 Miss Mayer。
Hi. Welcome to our college counseling seminar. My name is Miss Meher, and today I'm going to talk about the myth of a perfect application. This is going to be very interesting. I'm going to make it sound like a case study for you all. So I'm going to first start with like an introduction and then talk about some myths, like it's all about numbers. You need to be very well-rounded. The Ivy League is the only goal. What schools look for, the real framework. I'll be covering all the myths, and then I'll also talk about how we can better support the students, and then towards the end I'll give a brief summary and add some closing remarks. So let me talk about a hypothetical student. Let's call her Maya. Maya had a 4.0 GPA. She took 11 AP classes. She scored a 1560 on the SAT. She was also the president of the school student council. She was the captain of the debate team. She was very active in her community as well and volunteered every Saturday at a local food bank. If you looked at her activities and her grades and standardized testing score, everything looked absolutely perfect on the paper. And the outcome, now let's talk about that, the fun part. What happened? What were the results? Unfortunately, she got rejected from every Ivy League school she applied to. So, something may have happened. And then I will tell you about another hypothetical student called James. James had a 3.7 GPA, solid but not jaw-dropping. He took 6 AP classes, had a 15, 20 SAT score, wasn't really a president of anything. But James had spent 3 years building a podcast about the economics of a small town in America. And he interviewed the mayors, farmers, factory workers. By his senior year, he had about 40,000 listeners, which was a huge milestone to achieve. and he was also featured in his school's newspaper. His essays were very interesting, which showed his genuine passion, clarity, excitement. Now, let's talk about the outcomes. James got into his dream school, which was Princeton University. Interesting, right? Like he didn't have the perfect GPA, perfect standardized scores, but he still ended up getting into a very elite school. So I do want to say here, the rules of elite admissions are not what most families think they are. Today, I want to bust 3 big myths I see families believing. Myths that cause a lot of stress, a lot of missed opportunities. And then I'm going to show you what elite admissions officers are actually looking for when they open up an application of a student. So whether your child is in 9th grade or just starting out, or in the 11th grade, a junior, or you're a senior watching this video is going to matter for you. So let's talk about myth 1. It's all about numbers. This is a big one. This is one myth that I hear from most parents at the start of the 9th grade. If your child gets a 4.0 SAT score above 1550, they're basically guaranteed admission at an elite school. I completely understand why families believe this. Schools publish their mid 50% stats. The numbers look clear. They feel objective. And if your child is in that range, you feel safe. And if they're below that, you feel panicked. And here's the reality. At Harvard University last year, the acceptance rate was under 3%. The majority of students who were rejected had perfect or near perfect GPAs and test scores. The majority, I must emphasize. That means the bar for academics is a threshold. It's not a differentiator. Getting above it gets you in the pool. It does not necessarily get you an offer. Think about it this way. Imagine you're hiring for a job at your company. You obviously require a college degree. Everyone who applies has one. But the degree does not make you stand out. It's the price of entry, a 4.0 GPA and a high SAT score are really the price of entry to the elite admissions pool. They are necessary, but nowhere near like sufficient. Getting those does not guarantee you an admission at an elite school. So what does this mean practically for us? It means we should stop optimizing obsessively for the last 10 points of the SAT or the last decimal on the GPA, especially if that is coming at the cost of everything else that we are going to be talking about today. So I'm going to explain you what numbers actually tell admissions officers. They tell them, A, can this student handle our academic environment? B, are they intellectually prepared for the rigor of the courses that will be offered to them at the school? C, do their grades reflect genuine effort and intellectual curiosity, or was the student just grade chasing? The last point that I made is important. Admissions officers are trained to look at course selection, not just GPA. a student with a 3.8 who took the hardest available classes is often more compelling than a student who got a 4.0 with easier ones. And on test scores, many top schools are also test optional, test flexible. MIT reinstated their SAT requirement. Yale accepts the SAT and ACT. The landscape, in a way, I would say, has shifted a little. A strong score helps, but I would not say that if you do not have a standardized score, it necessarily disqualifies you at pretty much all the schools. It does not. I do want to say academics open the doors for students, but everything else determines whether you walk through it.